As I write this, my hands are shaking and my heart is pounding. What I experienced was the true embodiment of fear. The year was 2014 when I discovered the horror of Minecraft. I was browsing through forums looking for something interesting when I came across a topic that read, "Do you dare download this?" Attached was a zip file called Old Beta. Naturally, I clicked on it, but I'll regret that decision forever. Before I downloaded the file, the reviews made it clear that it was dangerous, claiming it would bring misfortune and terrible dreams. Some even said they could hear voices from the file itself. Of course, I didn't listen. How bad could it be? When I opened the game, I noticed that the textures were different, but I could live with that. I knew that Minecraft was still in beta, so I thought that this was just an early version. I started playing and quickly realized that something was wrong. This version of Minecraft was completely destroyed. The sky was covered with dark clouds, and the landscape was barren. It felt like the end of the world. As I walked around, I saw withered trees with bare branches that looked like claws scraping across the sky. The ground beneath my feet was cracked and crumbling. I had a strange feeling that I was being watched. It was hard to explain, but I could feel eyes on me. I tried to shake off the feeling, but it only got worse. Then I heard a whisper. It wasn't a sound from the game, but from my headphones. A raspy voice whispered my name. To this day, I can still hear those whispers. They come back to haunt me in the middle of the night. It feels like they're right behind me, hissing my name over and over again. As I played more, I realized that this game wasn't like the one I knew. Everything was darker and more sinister. I decided to build a house, but when I walked inside, it was pitch black. I couldn't see anything. I tried hitting the walls, but I could hear a crunch like bones breaking under my hammer. I ran outside, scared of what might be inside. I played for a few more hours, trying to adapt to the eerie atmosphere. I gathered wood and stone, but it seemed pointless. Everything I touched turned into dust. I had a sense that this world didn't want me to stay. It was pushing me away. Just then, I heard the whispers again, and this time they were louder. "Get out! Get out!" I froze. Could it be possible? Was the game trying to tell me to leave? I don't know. I decided to keep playing, but the whispers kept getting louder and more insistent. Leave, leave, leave. I was scared, but also curious. What was the game trying to hide? I continued playing until nightfall. The darkness was thick and heavy, like a physical presence pressing down on me. I couldn't see anything, but I could hear the whispers all around me. It was too much for me. I shut down the game. In the morning, I felt better. I thought it was just a weird dream. But when I opened the game, everything was still the same. The whispering started again. Get out. Get out. Leave. I knew I should stop playing, but I couldn't. Something was pulling me back. I spent the day exploring, but I found nothing but ruined buildings and decaying trees. There wasn't a single sign of life. It was like the world was dead, and I was the only living thing left. I tried talking to myself to keep my spirits up, but the whispering got louder and more menacing. You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here. I felt a cold dread creep into my heart. At night, the game became truly terrifying. I could hear scratching sounds in the darkness, like claws scraping against the floor. Sometimes I could swear I could feel something breathing down on my neck, making my skin crawl. I spent the nights hiding in my house, hugging my knees and trying to make myself small. The game was deliberately trying to break me, to drive me insane. One day, I found something that shocked me. It was a single wooden box hidden in the ruins of a building. I had passed by many times before, but somehow I just didn't notice it. I opened the box and found a leather-bound book. The cover had strange symbols that looked like they were carved by claws. When I opened the book, the pages were blank, but then the whispering started. Look, look, I stared at the book, and suddenly the pages filled with words written in a crimson liquid that looked like blood. "You are not alone. He is watching you." I slammed the book shut, terrified. Who was he talking about? Who was watching me? I tried to run away, but the game seemed to stretch endlessly. No matter how far I went, I couldn't escape the whispering. It followed me everywhere like a curse. Then I saw him. It was a figure that looked exactly like the player character, but his eyes were black holes that stared into my soul. He didn't move. He just stood there watching me. I wanted to run, but my legs felt heavy like lead. I couldn't look away. I was frozen in place, caught in his gaze. He took a step towards me and I screamed, but the sound came out as a whisper. He took another step and the whispering grew louder. Then he spoke. His voice was like nails on a chalkboard, grating and horrible. "Hello, Solomon. I've been waiting for you. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. I was stuck in a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. As days turned into nights, I kept seeing him. He was always there watching me, lurking in the shadows. I tried to ignore him, but he wouldn't let me. He taunted me, whispered threats, and told me terrible things about the game and the world. He said I wasn't in a game. I was trapped in a prison of his mind. I tried to fight back, to break free, but it was hopeless. I was just a pawn in his game. Then he showed me something that broke my spirit. He led me to a cave, and inside was a pool of water, and in the water I saw my reflection. It wasn't my face staring back at me. It was his. His eyes burned with hatred, and he smiled, a cruel and twisted smile. At that moment, I understood I wasn't just playing a game. I was trapped in a world of madness created by a broken mind, and I was the obsession of a monster who took pleasure in my torment. Every day he made me do horrible things. He forced me to walk into the darkness and explore the deepest pits of the earth. He pushed me to the brink of insanity, whispering secrets that shouldn't be spoken. But I refused to break. I held on to my humanity, to my sanity, even though it was becoming harder and harder. One day, he took me to a huge fortress made of obsidian. We went up to the highest tower and stood on the edge. Below us, the world stretched out, dark and lifeless. "Why won't you let me leave?" I shouted into the abyss. "Because you're mine now," he replied, his voice dripping with malice. "You belong to me." Suddenly, he lunged at me, his eyes blazing with madness. And I fell to my knees, defeated. I felt the darkness consume me, envelop me in its cold embrace. But as I slipped into the darkness, I saw a glimmer of hope. It was a portal shimmering in the distance. With a surge of strength, I crawled towards it. I had to get away from him to escape this nightmare. I stumbled through the portal, my body aching, my soul shattered. I emerged on the other side and collapsed to my knees. I had escaped. But as I looked back, I saw the portal close, sealing my fate. I was free from the fortress, but I knew I'd never escape the memories. The worst part is that I still hear the whispers sometimes. Even now, years later, he finds ways to reach me, to remind me of my torment. "You can't hide from me. I'm always with you." I try to convince myself it's just post-traumatic stress. But sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and think I hear footsteps behind me. I turn around, but there's nothing there, just my shadow and the darkness.